Hello, everybody. Okay, right now what we're doing is switching our focus off the Tata Stills chess tournament that is going on right now, concurrently with the Gibraltar Chess Festival. And I want to show you a game today between Jan Christoph Duda and Hikaru Nakamura. Oh, as usual, and up here where I'm pointing, there's a random chess player, and see if you can name who she is and let us know in the comments section below. And as I say in my other videos, the first one who gets it right, uh, feel free to suggest a line or opening or a game for me to analyze, and I'll be glad to oblige. And the answer to the last video I did, actually the first one I did like this was Susan Polgar, for those that didn't get it. Okay, so let's get into it. This game intrigued me because these players used the same line as occurred in the game Carlson and Gawain Jones, which was the dragon. Um, and Gawain Jones is a known dragon specialist and author on the same said subject, and lost a game that, of course, he should have won. Magnus basically dropped a piece, and as we all know now, was somehow able to win the game. So these players picked up the argument, and Nakamura with the black pieces opted for this popular line with d5, gambiting a pawn in some cases, and Duda opted for Carlson's choice and played the move Queen E1. Let me just take a second and just show you some of the complexities with accepting this pawn, especially if you're not really into the theory of the dragon. So let me just take a second looking at my notes here. So for example, E takes D5, Knight takes D5, and one line is Knight takes C6, B takes C6, Bishop D4, E5, Bishop C5, Rook E8, Knight takes D5, C takes D5, with a complex position after Queen takes D5, Queen takes D5, Rook takes, and Bishop E6. Alright, this is all like well-known stuff, especially to booked up dragon players. Another option here, after D5, again E takes D5, Knight takes, B takes, is an old school line that I remember when I first started playing chess. Dragon players used to look forward to playing this line, where white went all in and capturing the pawn on d5, and then black would sacrifice the rook in the corner. So after queen c7, queen takes a8, bishop f5, with this attack here threatening mate. Queen takes f8, check is forced, and then king takes f8, and black's open lines fully compensate for his deficit, okay, in material. So this line quickly went out of favor for white, and instead of taking the rook here after queen c7, white started just playing queen c5, and of course black tries to avoid the exchange, and you get a lot of games like this whereby black is down material, but look at the open files. I mean, give me a break. All right, who wants to be under this much pressure is white for a stinking pawn? I mean, like, come on. I mean, there's some players that like being tortured like this. Like Ivan Chuck is one of them. And I think he actually there's a real good game that I remember off the top of my head. Ivan Chuck has a white. Look this up if you get a chance. It's Ivan Chuck with the white pieces versus Julian Hodgson. I can't remember what year it was, but it's in a dragon. I'm sure they haven't played too many games, but it's a dragon. And I mean, Hodgson is all over him, the black pieces, but somehow uh, Ivan Chuck just finds like these only moves and just keeps his head above water and eventually wins the game. However, this type of play is not for everybody's everybody's liking. So you can see why players would play a move like Queen E1 here. So here we go, following the Carlson Jones line, except Duda is not going to hang a piece. And here we have it where Nakamura or Black, what have you, will give up his positional, his positional rights, so to speak, in the position, in order to play dynamically. Okay, in exchange for the broken pawns on the queen side. Okay, Black has some open files for his rooks to play. Perhaps his queen can get involved. There's a lot of potential for attack against White. And notice White hasn't even gotten his king side attack started. So this is all good for Black. Alright, of course the downside, notice this pawn is hanging too. Of course the downside for Black is that if White can somehow calm the storm, trade the pieces down, then these positional deficits will come back to haunt Black at some point. But we're a long way from that, and Black is willing to take his chances. And a dynamic player like Nakamura, I'm sure this suits him very well, especially if he has prepared. Another interesting tidbit I want to share with you is I did a video series, Anatoly Karpov versus the Sicilian Dragon, where I go over all of Karpov's games as White versus the Dragon, and he has 14 wins against the Dragon with only 2 draws. He never lost in competition versus the Dragon, and he specialized in the line Bishop C4, which I failed to mention. Bishop C4 is just basically prevents the gambit by Black D5, and this is one of the old school lines. Bishop, bringing the bishop, instead of castling there, you bring the bishop here first, and that has its own history to it. But it's been played by Anand. And of course, at one time it was the main line: Bishop C4, Bishop D7, H4. What else we got here? Queen C7. Of course, this guy has to be moved now. Bishop B3, Knight A5, Castle, Knight C5, forcing that. And then the old Bishop H6 idea, trading off this guy. H5. H takes G6, and like Fischer used to say, sack, sack, and mate. Throw G4 in there somewhere to get the get the queen and other rook involved. And that was the old main line for a long time. But studying Karpov's response against the Dragon is interesting because what I noticed when studying his response against the Dragon is that Karpov didn't always play for this stereotype attack on the king side, although it seems ready-made in the Yugoslav attack. For instance, F3, everybody's programmed to play G4, H4, and this frantic race to rip open each other's opposite wings. Karpov used to play positionally, so he would get positions. Let me just go back to the game continuation here. He would get positions where, just like this, with the bishop would be here on C4, and Black would have these pawn weaknesses, but then Karpov wouldn't go for this. He would just trade the pieces down and then win the endgame. So he had an interesting approach using the Yugoslav attack, because you would figure since he wanted to play in that way, why not play the classical Dragon where White just castles queen side and plays F4 and keeps everything calm? No, he would play Yugoslav attack, but then play in a positional manner. But I digress and go off on a tangent. So the game continued, 94 from Duda, playing that good old Soviet chess style, taking over the weak squares and all that good stuff. Right? Black has a lot of positional problems to worry about, but he plans on solving them in that old magical, tactical manner. So here is White's argument on the king side, and Naka doesn't care. He says, go ahead, ruin my pawn structures because I am going to kill you before we can even get to an endgame. In other words, he's saying your endgame is going to be in the middle game. Now Duda has to watch out for this bishop. Bishop b3. Preparing the double on the d files is Nakamura. Playing h6. Creating a long-term weakness here. And a potential outpost at some point. But again, Nakamura is planning on ending the game in the middle game. King gets off the open file for safety. Nice move by Nakamura, threatening this piece right here, and also giving White the choice of capturing on f4, but if he does that, he opens up this diagonal for this bishop. Rook trade, and now he takes. Again, Nakamura's pawns are dismal here, but he gets the dynamic activity he's looking for. Queen comes back with this double attack and hoping to just force more trades. Naka finds a great move, just plays bishop d4. Threatening here at some point, of course, not right now because of this pin. Bishop drops back, and of course Duda would like to say put the bishop here, contest this guy, perhaps even trade it off at some point. Naka finds a great move here. And after this guy moves, there is also the threat of just playing c4. This also, by playing bishop takes here, for instance, it keeps the bishop off of this important diagonal. Okay, and then Nakamura can play moves like queen c3 and forcing further weakening moves like c3, and then, for example, move like bishop takes f3 can be played, and then if bishop here, then black can give up the exchange. So dangerous sequence after bishop takes c5 for White. So he goes for the trade, okay, and queen takes d5. This trade just strengthens the black position here. And again, this is what dynamism is about. Although White has all the positional the static trumps with this pawn structure, black is in charge at this point, possessing the open files. Bishop's on a wonderful diagonal, and when you compare the pieces, all of black's pieces are better. Bishop goes to a3. Pawn drops. Bishop c5 from Duda. And again, now we have this harassment on the queen side, provoking weakness, attacking a piece, and Duda desperately trying to set up a defense here. But after queen d4 is very, very difficult. Further weakness must be created. Only move to stop what's getting ready to happen. Desperately trying to protect himself, and now this pawn is pushed, and now it's all about getting a piece here, here, here. Naka's taking over the second rank, and he wants to distract the pieces from being able to guard these squares here. The bishop comes out. c5, fantastic move by Nakamura. one of these pieces have to move. And squares will not be protected anymore. So he does it with the bishop, and boom. Now that square wasn't protected. Remember, the bishop was here guarding that square, and look what happened. Now we have a deflection. And this is, I mean, Nakamura is one of the strongest grandmasters tactically. I mean, that's why it's hard to see how he loses sometimes, because he plays so strong. The idea with this is just merely the decoying the queen off of the protection of this square right here. Okay, this is why he had to take with the bishop. If he takes here with the queen, same thing. All right, so basically he just deflects the queen away. So it's these two squares whereby White has trouble defending. He can't defend both. So he does that. Rook comes in, and he takes, and he's hoping to be able to hold on. But Nakamura, of course, is calculated, and this must have occurred in a time scramble situation, because a checkmate has occurred on the board. So great game by Nakamura, dynamic game, and this sure should make all the Dragon fans happy, since they saw their main main proponent of the Dragon, Gawain Jones, go down in such a such a lowly manner, just losing like that. And I know all the people at the chess clubs was like, see, that's why I don't play the Dragon, blah blah blah. So here's Nakamura raising the Dragon flag, and so you Dragon players can be proud. So that is it for this video. We'll be looking at some more games as the day continues, but I do want to encourage you to please like, subscribe, comment, and participate, because I like reading all the comments. Keep them positive, or I had to sick my buddies, right there to my right on you. They're the enforcers, of the channel. And please donate. I have book and DVD links below, and the links will also, the links will always be about the particular openings that are discussed in the game. So the links below will be about the Dragon, of course. So hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you soon on the next video.